What's going on, people? It's Mr. back again with DoreOnTour podcast. I hope everyone's fit and well. And we're back. We're back again, people. How is everyone feeling today? The season's not always over. This is maybe here again, part 2 of the Premier League football and cup games as well. Forest are back in action on Wednesday against Blackburn in Carabao Cup. I think it's, what is it, last 16 or whatever it is. But yeah, people, get in the comments, how excited are you to the football is back? And if you are new to the channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and comment below, people, how excited are you for the new football is back? Right, let me introduce you to the panel. There's a few faces I know. There's one face who's just like a mug, as usual, and they've got the beauty below me as well. So first introduced to Mark. How you doing, Mark?
Great, mate.
Nice. You got a nice Christmas top.
Yeah.
Who is it? Who is it? Stuart
Pierce,
that is Robbo. And who's the other one?
John McGovern.
Yes. Oh, I'm loving it. Oh, that. You know what? I should have put Des's face on there. It would have been so beautiful.
Kings.
Next one, we've got the beautiful Dave. How are you feeling, Dave?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit more Christmassy than about a minute ago. I just nicked a bauble off the tree and stuck it on my ear, mate. Because I am not like Christmassy jumper like you lot, and for fear of looking like a Grinch or a humbug, I've just sort of Yule-tided myself up a bit.
Oh, you look great, Dave, as always.
Looks like a lead
weight out of head. I thought it was a lead weight out of his fishing tackle box.
It's one of my knackers.
And last but not least, we've got the man. He just arrived back from Spain. So people, don't give any sympathy for him. The man himself, Des. How are you feeling, Dave? Are you not knackered?
Absolutely. I've just been out for a run to freshen myself up. So I'm feeling a bit more alive. Been a pretty epic weekend, hasn't it? I'm sure we'll talk about it. So we're looking forward to discussing that. But yeah, feeling good. Looking forward to the return to action and another road trip in 48 hours.
And like I said, people, me and Des, we went to Spain to see Forest. We blessed you, and we won. So if you're sort of vlog people in the comment section, did you enjoy it? It was a great away day. Yeah, it was something different because, like I said, we was in Spain. It felt like a European tour, like it was in the UEFA Cup or Champions League. Great, and like I said, the Valencia fans as well. They were all right. Some were great, but some were all right. Were a bit tensy. But yeah, people, how excited are you? In the comment section as well, who's got the best Christmas tip? Me, Mark, or Des? Who's got the best one? This is mine.
I wouldn't say mine's in the top one, but
so people in the comment section, who's got the best Christmas one? As well, we can't forget Dave. Dave's got one.
I'm dreaming, Ben. I'm dreaming of a navy blue Christmas, just like the ones we used to know. The rest of it's completely black, mate. I'm dreaming of a goth Christmas, mate.
So people in the comment section, who's got the best Christmas outfit? Me, Des, Mark, or Dave? Please get in the comment section and help us out. Before we do start all of this, people, we'll go through the comments as well, because the comments are flying in as well. This is from Kieran. Who's 2 minutes late, Dave? It was Des. No, it wasn't Des. It was Dave.
Today.
It was Dave this time. He was trying to put his bubble in his ear, so it was Dave. So Tina says hi. How you doing, Jade? Evening, guys. Hello, everyone. Ricky, hi guys. Can't wait for us to get back into action. I think everyone can't wait. World Cup was great. The part of the final was great as well. People, how did you enjoy the World Cup final? I did. How you doing, Claire? Shout out to Claire who gave me a lift to the airport. I was singing songs on the way. Yeah, I'm not singing again. How you doing, Hadi? Hi, Mr. Dore and panel. Evening, Mr. Dore, Des, Mark, and Dave. Hope you're well. I just enjoying new pictures while watching and listening at the same time. Yeah, that is great, Eve. But you know what? Yeah, I think you know what you should do, Eve. Do a drawing of all 4 of us with our Christmas tops. All 4 of us Christmas tops, and Dave with a little bubble.
You'll have to imagine my Christmas top, I think.
As well, sunny day, football's nearly back. I can't wait. And as well, look, if no one sees, Mark has got the calendar as well. That Eve has got one. And if you do want one, people, please message me and I'll show you the way to get a calendar that Eve has done. So shout out to Eve as well. Shout out to Gary, Evening Charts. Looking forward to getting back on to live football.
Ticketmaster.
Yeah, the Ticketmaster. Gary, I hope you got me some nice a pillow and a cushion for away days. Please.
I think Gary needs a football back to keep him off Twitter.
Yeah. I'm not getting involved. Dear Chapper, hello, Mr. Dore. I read via the Spaniel, bring on Blackburn. It was a great day, man. It was a fantastic time in Spain as well. In Davis, discuss picture me trust. No, later.
No,
Andrew, evening all, and Eve, hope you're well. How you doing, Andrew? I hope you're all good. I'm just going through the comment, and as well, last one, have a good Christmas, Des. Wait, why is Zane? Why do you say Des? I don't know if you know that me, myself, Mark, and David here. Are you a Des fan? Get a grip of yourself. I'm joking, Zane. I'm joking.
Going to change his name to O'Connor.
As well, how do you Swin? Good to see you guys again. Swin, top and his family as well. They was there in Valencia. Top people, really top people as well. People show some love to Punjabi Forest as well. They do great work as well. They're on Facebook, Twitter, a lot. So people go and look out for Punjabi Forest, Swin, good family. I'm going to show in Valencia as well. Yeah, right. So let's start, people. Well, before we do this one, last one. 40 easy, Des.
I wasn't getting involved this time.
As well. Right, so let's start. Like I said, we've had a few friendly games. Like I said, me and Des, we went to Valencia. Who else did we play? Olympiacos. We went to watch Stoke as well. Let's start with you, Mr. Des. What's your opinion on all the games that Forest played?
The performance wasn't fantastic, in all honesty. The experience. Let's start with a real positive. The experience was absolutely amazing. You know, for me personally, I looked on that stadium when I was young, and it seemed even bigger then than it is now. It only holds 55,000, but it's so steep. It's like a cauldron, isn't it? And we was right up in the gods. In I can only imagine what it's like on a Champions League night or a big league game against Barca or Real Madrid. Kind of want to go back and see one of those now. But it was an absolutely fantastic experience. Seeing a place that might not be there for very long either. There's obviously a new stadium they're waiting to move into. So it might have been the last chance to get there. And so I'm just really happy to have ticked it off. All I really wanted from the game was to see Forest score. Of course, Lewis O'Brien could have scored after about 10 seconds and should have scored. Really scuff one into the ground. So I thought the chance had gone. Valencia dominated in large parts. Really good technical, as you'd expect, you know, from a Spanish side. Really good technical stuff, knocking it around the midfield. I said a lot of this on the vlog, on your vlog after the game. I don't think Forest were fantastic in parts. But again, I'm not bemoaning that. It's an opportunity to try one or two guys. There was one or two playing out of position. You know, I thought Forest defended quite well. I thought Worrell and Cook played well in particular. But the midfield was lacking a little bit. You know, I've got question marks over the midfield and who plays in there, whichever sort of formula they look at. So I don't think we kept the ball very well. Valencia knocked it around, played really well in spells, but we made them pay, didn't we? And that's what we've been doing recently. When teams aren't taking their chances, look back to the Crystal Palace game, especially, you know, that they had a penalty and missed it, and then we went on and got something out of the game. And football is about scoring goals, and we stuck the ball away a couple of times, capitalised on one or two errors. So there was lots of positives to take out of it. But for me, the big positive was just getting there, seeing Forest win somewhere like that. Like you said, Dore, it gave us a bit of a first for European football. Do you know, imagine if we had that sort of quite regular again and opportunities to go elsewhere. You know, we're not going to have a midwinter break, but I was kind of tongue-in-cheek. That would be amazing to do that every year now. Now we've done it this year. Of course. It's just one of those. I won't say it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, but the way it's come before Christmas, the winter break, the World Cup, the World Cup final weekend. You know, it's just an opportunity to do something really exciting. So on that front, I really enjoyed it. The performance, you know, again, more to come, but it's a friendly, isn't it? I think we'll see I think we'll be better for the experience of playing it. You know, going into the Blackburn game, I spoke before we signed out for the World Cup about how I felt the Blackburn game was important in building up back into league action. But I think that was almost important to getting in the right frame of mind for Blackburn as well. So it's a real good competitive game before we get back into action. And hopefully on Wednesday, we can take some of that form, if not clinical edge, if not form, into the game and get a result to put us in good stead when we play against Man United.
Next up, Dave. Like I said, you saw all the games. What's your thoughts on all the games?
Pretty much what my esteemed colleague has just gone through. I thought Forest were second best pretty much throughout, but when the two opportunities came, they were taken pretty ruthlessly, to be honest. I mean, you know, Jesse Force in the first issue, a couple of defenders coming together, and Taiwo actually came from his own half, which was good. He read the play well. Lovely touch to take it away from the goalkeeper and slide it in. And then the second goal, you know, fair play to Emmanuel Dennis for his persistence, because the guy was in front of him. Emmanuel got in front of him after a ball around the corner from Scarpa, and Forest took their chances. They, you know, say Lewis O'Brien, the very first minute could have scored. I think there might have been 2 or 3 other chances, but it was basically Valencia having lots of the ball. I mean, if it had been a competitive game and I was in the Valencia dressing room afterwards, how the hell did we lose that? You know, they were much better at keeping possession than we were. I think ball retention is still an issue for us. It's something we have to learn. We have to get better at, especially in these next 2 league games, which is, so bearing in mind that, I think Blackburn in a couple of nights' time is actually a really important game, because if we come out of that with a win and we get some structure, because really from what I can see, Stoke, Atromitos, Olympiacos and Valencia were more about game time and minutes in legs as much as anything really, and getting everybody involved. So Blackburn on Wednesday night, I mean, the weird thing is, I was thinking about it, we've had all these friendlies, 4 friendlies all on the road. We're on the road at Blackburn. Basically, the only home game we've got out of sort of 8 matches, if you like, of any kind, is Chelsea on New Year's Day, because it's Southampton and then Blackpool. So I think this Blackburn game on Wednesday night is really it's probably more crucial. I mean, the thing is, there's a quarter-final on it if we win, and a quarter-final for Nottingham Forest would be fantastic. We had a quarter-final last season, and I think it did wonders for us. That quarter-final. Okay, we lost the match, but I think it gave us so much confidence and belief. And I think if we were to get another quarter-final, and knowing Steve will want a quarter-final after I don't, whether Freuler plays or Nico Williams plays or whatever. Some of these lads who sort of had relatively elongated World Cups, I don't know, but I would like to think we'll go there. I personally would like us to put strong sides out in the Carabao and the FA Cup and really go for it, because I remember last year, particularly the first game against Arsenal, you kind of think, is it going to be like a change side and all this kind of stuff, and are there going to be different priorities? And I remember sort of sitting in the Trent End and hearing the team and thinking, wow, that's a strong side. And Steve did that in the games against Arsenal, Leicester, Huddersfield and Liverpool. And I think it served as well, rather than protecting teams for other matches. So I'd like to think he'll do the same against Blackburn on Wednesday. But a word of warning, well, the thing in Forest's favour is it's probably going to feel like a home game, because I think there are more of us going to be in Ewood Park than there are of theirs, which I find very interesting. Although that may have changed after what Blackburn did at Norwich on Saturday night, where I've seen Blackburn twice in a week. I watched them against Preston at home, and they were pretty abject, although that's to take credit away from Preston, who were very, very good on a very cold day. But then, by contrast, Blackburn at Norwich on Saturday night played really, really well. And I, for one, am not underestimating Blackburn Rovers. I think John Del Thomason's a clever fella. They've got some good lads. they might feel that they owe Forest after Forest beat them in the league there. I think it was back in February or something like that.
Yeah, February.
So it's not going. It's not going to be an easy game, but Steve's selection will be really interesting. I hope he goes with the strong one personally.
Mark, do you echo what Dave and Des says about what's happening in friendly games and up and coming games?
Yeah, I think I wasn't really expecting too much, and I think that played out by the way he made multiple substitutions in all of the games. Really, the only match I really got to see much of was the last one, the win against Valencia. Really good goal from Dennis. Anticipated what the defender was going to do, ran round him, beat to the ball, and Taiwo getting another goal. You know, he's not ripping up anything, but he's still getting those goals. And I've been saying it all along. I want to see him with the number 9, and it might as well be Taiwo. You know, even if he gives Sam a run out for a few games, but start with the number 9. But we'll see what he does. You know, he's shown a propensity to building the midfield and hardly playing up front. I think Taiwo actually started on the right wing, didn't he, against Valencia? If I was watching it right, and telling Cook was at right back. But yeah, you know, a lot of substitutions. So I didn't expect a lot out of it. It was an exercise in getting minutes in legs and team bonding abroad. And now we get back to the business, because the matches are going to come thick and fast now. You know. Really looking forward to Blackburn, because I think I heard that they've actually shut one of the stands, Dave.
Yeah, they have the Riverside stand. Yeah,
so they shut one of the stands because they don't expect to sell the tickets. And last I heard, Blackburn had sold around 3,500, and we more or less sold 6,000. Yeah. So we're definitely. I mean, we'd be out singing them anyway. Yeah. You know, with it being nearly 2-1, it's definitely going to feel like a home game for us, I think. And Man U as well. I'm just hoping that they've got a lot of players who are being given an extended break after the World Cup, or they're still feeling a bit jaded. And it would be nice if we could go there and get a bit of something, you know, a point at least.
100%.
And then Chelsea comes up. I firmly believe we. Yeah.
Mark, easy game. The 2 easy games. Why are you worried? You shouldn't worry about it.
I'm not worried. No, I'm not worried.
Not as romantic as Valencia, though, was it? I mean, and you know what Des said about that stadium. I mean, even watching on the telly, just the name, the Mestalla. It's a fabled name in European football. And I saw the photos that you lads put on, and I was just getting vertigo looking at like Facebook, sitting on the sofa. You know, it was that high up. But
it's funny, right, Dave? Because I said going to the game, it feels like we're high up, but me and Des, we went to the stadium tour. That vlog will be out midnight, because I'll be editing it afterwards. It feels like, wow, it looks really high. It looks really high, but the view was out. It was a great view, wasn't it, Des?
It was brilliant to see do you know what? To watch the football, almost like it's like looking down on the tactics board on Sky when they used to have the tactics board. You could just see and people moving. You could see the kind of movement, and I mentioned Valencia's passing and the way they moved it around. You know, it was absolutely. It was fascinating. Someone who I believe a lot try and watch through it a little bit and understand the tactics and things like that. To somebody who tries to take it all in, it was a fantastic view to see fullbacks overlapping and cutting inside and all these little sort of quirks of the Spanish game. You know, it was absolutely brilliant.
Dave mentioned in Vertigo there, one of the Man U stands on the back of the ticket, it says to fans, don't book tickets in this stand in the upper tier if you suffer from vertigo.
Yeah, I tell you what, Mark, that'd probably be the South stand, which I've actually been in. A mate of mine used to, when I was working on the South Coast, he used to get tickets for Man U, and we went in the South stand once. I think I saw him play Everton or something, and it's pretty high up, but it's going to be quite high.
Stand or the South Coast stand? Do they have a stand for the whole of the South Coast?
They have a Southeast Asia stand, a South America stand, a South Coast, and a South Antarctica stand. I think there's, you know. So yeah, I tell you what though, we're talking about romance. it's going to be quite romantic either in the Brian Douglas end or the Ronnie Clayton end on Wednesday night. You know, that proper. I mean, for whatever you say about Ewood, proper old-fashioned Lancastrian football ground. I actually quite like Ewood. You know.
So, before let's have next subject, we'll go through the comments as well. I want to say thank you to Andrew for the £2. All you Hampton wise chaps have to have your nice back. Who's Hampton though?
He's misjudged me for a start.
Andrew, who was you talking about? Who's the most handsome person here? In the comments as well, people get involved. Who's the most handsome people here? Be honest.
Mark Warwell.
Be honest. All of us handsome. Who's handsome?
That one.
This is how you doing, Albertus. It won't matter if we second best in each game of the season. As long as defensive, we are strong. We take our chances and the clinical when we chances, and we win 100%. 100%. And shout out to Albertus from all the way from Canada. Shout out you. And I need to get you back on my show as well, my friend. So if you can message me. This is where else is there? Look for the. Andrew Charles, 8-1 revenge. Oh, didn't mention that game. Was it 98 season? Alex Solskjaer scoring 4 as well. Jim, even last this being my new tickets, I went my nuts off to get it in the wrong end. In the wrong end. Bloody hell. Paul, let's not worry, lads. This is what we wanted to see. Emmanuel will be okay. Yeah, 100% Paul. That's what we wanted. Yeah. That's what we wanted. As well with Chris, Door Rocks, love the sweaters. Mine's better. Chris, mine's better. You know mine's better.
Actually, Door, Chris Dennehy might want to keep watching because I've got a jumper I'm going to put on in a bit that he might like. Actually, he'll know what I'm on about.
Right. So let's go back to the game. Like I said, me, Des, we went to the game and. There's one player that everyone has been talking about. I will go through the panel as well. Scarpa. I know I saw people in comments getting so excited. And to be fair, he was all right when he come on. You can tell he's the kind of player that we've been missing as well. But let me go through all the comments as well. People... You know what Ted's going to say, like, and he's ready. To people in the comments, right? What's your opinion on Scarpa so far? We saw a little bit of Olympiacos. If you saw, like, me and Des saw him live, I'm not sure. So let me start with you there, Des. Scarpa, what's your opinion on him? People in the comments, get involved.
I've not watched any YouTube videos before we start, so my first impression of him was the other night, and I thought he was excellent. I thought he played really, really well. He looked lively, looked quite intelligent. I made the point again on the vlog several times that we have to get the ball to him. This could ultimately be the problem. This is why the midfield concerned me a little bit and failure to keep the ball, because players like that, and I've said it all season about the likes of Lingard and Morgan Gibbs-White and Johnson. When people have been criticising them, I've almost said that, how can you criticise them when they've not had the ball, when they've not had the service? Because that's what those type of players need, the ball. Sorry, I was reading that comment. We've just got to be pragmatic with him. It was an first appearance in a friendly game. It's a bit of a free hit. I did make the point, and I love this guy to work, but we're playing Valencia, in 20 degrees. It's a little bit different to Blackpool on January the 6th at 3 a.m. when the wind's battering in off the Irish Sea. No, he did really well. He looks really intelligent. I think the key is to get the ball to him, but it's not going to be a quick fix with him. I think he's going to have a little bit of time to bed in. Even though we saw some great stuff the other night, I think let's just sort of temper the expectation, be a little bit pragmatic, and just let him evolve into whatever he's going to be for Forest, because we've seen it all before, haven't we? We've seen it with all sorts of players. You get excited about them. I think of players like Sudani and You know, players that were never going to do anything ultimately. And now you've got a player there who's come over with rave reviews. He looks like he can fit in. He looks like he wants to play. You know, he's already moaning about the cold in Nottingham, I noticed. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, no, definitely looking forward to seeing how he evolves into the team and how he can play a part this season. And if he does play anything like he played the other night, he's going to have a fantastic start, and he's going to help us massively because he's that different. He might be that difference in certain games, you know. Whilst that, you know how much I love Gibbs White, Lingard's coming to form. If all those players are sort of working in around off each other, you know, and he's a bit different in terms of his sort of Morgan Gibbs White's great keeping the ball, for example, turning someone, knocking it out, that kind of thing. He's quick, so he might play a first time ball into Gibbs White, make an angle. And when we've seen Lingard and Gibbs White do that, and if you throw another guy into the mix, you might have quite an exciting lineup. Again, a little bit like Mark, I'd love to see I know we're not talking about this right now, but someone spearheading that. You know, a real number 9 is somebody to hit. And then these guys, with the way Scarpa started, with the talent we know Morgan Gibbs White's got, and with the way Lingard is picked up massively, you know, it could be an exciting second half of the season. But for now, I think we've just got to be careful. I heard people saying, "Oh, he's gonna take us to safety. He's gonna get us in Europe. He's gonna do this, and this." And I just can't cope with that anymore because I've been disappointed.
We've heard it all before. That's the problem.
I've been disappointed far too many times, George. You know, again, let's. I say it every time we get a player and people get excited. The best thing about football is watching a player, making your own mind up. You know, football's about opinions. This is what we're here for now. It's about opinions and making your mind up on a player over 6 or 7, 10, 15 games, not
1 game,
3 minutes on YouTube or 30 minutes in a friendly. You know, it's about making your mind up over a period of time. But definitely looking forward to seeing a bit of Brazilian flair at the City.
100%. Before we get Dave and Mark, I'm going to go through the comments as well about him. This is from Jem. In Kuwait, Brazil fans were spoke to rave about him. 100%. Alberto is excited but realistic about Scarpa. I think he's great for us. He's great, likable character, but we have to manage the expectations and not jump on him as if he was the next Messi right away. 100%. Like I said, me personally, I think bits that I think was it 20 minutes, 25 minutes that he played. I think the things that he was doing were right and what faults were missing. But if I remember, I don't know if like myself, we said exactly the same about Jesse Lingard when he played against Valencia at Meadow Lane. So don't get high horse Forest fans. We just don't. Let's see him when he plays against Chelsea in the league because we don't want to.
I think the point is, though, we can have high hopes for him. We can be excited for him.
Yes.
But not put any unnecessary pressure on him. You know, expect miracles from week 1 because all that happens then is they get written off before they've even got a chance to settle in. A bit like Morgan Gibbs White. You know, it took him 5 or 6 games after his initial cameo.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you just start seeing it coming out. You know, and Forest form's improving on the back of Lingard, Gibbs White, those kind of players playing well. And I think if you can sort of let someone settle in and not feel the pressure, because they will feel it. Lingard would have been feeling it because he'll know what's being said. And that's what I just want this guy to sort of feel at home straight away and feel like he's got the fans with him, not sort of demanding straight away.
100%. I'm going to go through the comments as well. And this is from Zane. Looks at Jem. A hard part would be my next need time to adapt to playing for England, and we might have to be patient. Fan base, 100% for that. Paddy Irish, how you doing, Paddy? Scorpino looks very excited. We need a dead ball specialist too. He is a good with what me and Des witnessed. He is good. And I don't know if remember that free kick that he had. Malcolm was watching from the other end, and he said it was that close. It was almost scored.
It was.
So, what? Yeah, was it? For that angle, it looked like
showed it on the stream. It was adjacent. Let's put it like that.
Yeah. I'm going to stick from the man himself, Kev. is back. I do Mr. KC. Let's get the Premier League back. I hope you're all well. Huge rest of the season coming up. Where's my invite, Mr. Dort? Kev, I'll get you back on, Kev. I will get you on before the we've got Man U. So Kev, you want to get back to before the Man U game? I'll tell this guy to message you. Oh no, I'll message you, Kev. I'll get you on the blower.
Don't worry, Kev. You can come up when Dialing with Des returns in the new year. You can.
So yeah, Kev, I will miss you. I'll get you on before the Man U game, Kev. But yeah, please love Kev. I'm loving you, Kev. As well, I'm looking for Scott as well. So this is from Forest Out. No, Des. Let's get Sato at Scarpino. He's a magician. We're not saying don't get excited. I'm just saying, in the past, like I don't want to set everyone. We got too hyped up about João Carvalho. 15 million man. Everyone saying João Carvalho, and what happened to him? People in the comments, what happened to João Carvalho? Nothing. One good game he had, and that was against Middlesbrough. Never seen him again. As well, this one there's 100% theirs. What we'll ask you? What about you, Dave? Do you echo what Des says about Carpino, as everyone calls him?
Yeah, I would. Having been, suffered third-degree burns from the parable of João Carvalho, I don't want to go there again. Those times when everybody was singing for Carvalho and he came on and he was going to be the second, third, fourth, and fifth coming, and several messiahs, many times over, and you get 10 minutes of like little flicks and tricks and then a disappearance. So with Scarpini, I'm going to reserve judgment because you cannot make a decision on a player and sort of come to the conclusion he's a world beater on one game. Having run teams in the past, I want to see a guy over 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 in different conditions, in different states of a game, in different psychological environments. What's he like when Forest are going to be up against it? What's he going to be like when he's up against it? What's he going to be like when the team demands him to play in a certain way that might not suit his individual style? These are the things we'll learn. If he comes up trumps on all of those, then fine. But I want to reserve judgment. I'm just a bit wary. I don't want the idea that people sort of like get it in their heads that this guy is like, a piece of gold straight away. And then if he doesn't live up, like Des said, if he doesn't live up to that expectation, people turn on him. What I will definitely tell you, though, and I know for a fact, he's an extremely intelligent human being. I actually had a conversation with him. I was privileged.
Oh, don't rub it in, Dave. Don't rub it in.
Yeah, he said to me, I'd rather talk to you, Dave, than anybody else. And I said, well, honestly, Gustavo, he's actually been around my place for a cup of tea, Gustavo's, because he said he wanted to know about, different types of tea and English chocolate and all this kind of stuff. We did Rubik's Cubes together. We had a book club where we discussed Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment, Brothers Karamazov and all that. I tell you, the kid is an extremely bright lad. He speaks beautiful English in an American accent, and he's got personality. I mean, I love the fact that he was skateboarding in Nottingham the day after Loughborough. I mean, one thing I would say at Loughborough, it looked like his testicles were icicles rather than knackers because he was that cold. I said to him, "How are you coping with the English weather?" In my sort of style, and he goes, "Well, it's a little bit colder than Sao Paulo." And I said, "Yes, I thought it might be." So he's a really lovely lad. If you have anybody who meets him is going to be charmed by him. And the portents of this guy are good. I think socially he will fit into the gang and the team and the brilliant spirit that Steve Cooper's fostered. I don't think there's any problem about that. I think he'll be open about any problems he encounters, and I'm sure he'll communicate really well with the staff and the team. And I think the little bits I saw against Valencia, there was a lovely turn in midfield where he played the ball sort of a little bit Cruyff turnish, and then the free kick, and then the ball round the corner. There were some promising signs, but as of yet, based on a half of football in a non-competitive environment, okay, there's some good football played by Valencia, and Forest had to sort of dig a little bit to get a result and all that business. But it is going to be, that is a world away. I'll tell you what, it's a world away from Ewood on Wednesday night, a world away from Old Trafford, a world away from the City Ground, St Mary's, and then Bloomfield Road, which are our next 5. And then, then you're into like Leicester and Bournemouth. So I'm going to reserve judgment. I have a sense of him as a person where I really, really want him to do well. He's likable, and that's good. I think the whole Forest squad is likable. We're not carrying any egos. We're not carrying any prima donnas. I don't think. Certainly not at my distance of a viewpoint. I don't think we're carrying anybody who's, rocking the boat too much. So I think there are some very promising. I did look at his YouTube stuff and the pedigree.
You should not do it, Dave. You should not have done it. Do it.
I just like watching football. I just love watching footballers. I mean, like, I just didn't want to go to bed on Sunday night after watching that World Cup final. I just sat there thinking, how lucky am I to love football, right? And so I went and looked at Scarpa. 2 Copa Libertadores. That's the South American equivalent of the Champions League. Takes a lot to win in, that does. He's won the Brazilian league with Palmeiras. If you get a sense of what he did at Palmeiras, check out the video of his last appearance, where it seemed to me that the whole game was stopped. And not only were Palmeiras applauding him off the field and shaking his hand, the opposition were as well. So, it's promising. But the Brazilian league these days isn't a patch on the Premier League. And this kid is going to have to, well, he's not a kid, he's 28, 29, but he's going to have to go to another level in his career. And it's a matter of whether he can do it. So I just want to not demand or expect too much from Scarpa straight away. And like Des says, let's watch essentially a decent human being. Let's watch him evolve and hope that it works out. But Carvalho still sticks in my head. The number of times I wanted Carvalho to come on, and then I remember walking out of wherever ground he was in thinking, well,
Stoke away. Let me
down again.
Stoke away. That's what that game was.
Do you know what? The Stoke away where we lost 2-0, he came on when we had that dreadful bloody gold kit on. And I think he had a shot after the first thing he did. And then he just he was more absent than Lord Lucan, honestly.
Dave, before you stop, Dave, Dave, you get a bit of love.
Stop now, Ben.
Dave, you have got a bit of love on the chat. Because
really? Yes. What's her name?
Right, so we got Malcolm. Evening. What's Dave got on his glasses?
It's my Christmas bauble, Malcolm. I basically, Malcolm, what it is, I came on here and these 3 beautifully attired wise men, right, made me feel a bit dowdy and a bit drab and a bit not very festive. So I've kind of made a bit of a half-assed attempt, mate. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
This is from Malcolm Owen, his face. This is the first one. I've been watching for 50 minutes and nobody else has.
That's not true.
As well. This is from Gary. Dave's doing a Dave, not letting else speak.
No.
Malcolm.
No.
And this is another one. This is from James. If Dave's house was burned down, he wouldn't know.
Too hot, man.
As well.
I wouldn't, because I'm deaf.
Dave should remove his back from his glasses.
Ground control to Major Tom.
And Malcolm said he's only playing, so he love him really. Well, the whole street has evacuated.
Like that.
David said, "You won't get some love and care. Leave my Dave alone. Behave." As well. Another one. Stop bullying Dave on comment.
They're so sweet.
Dave got to wear that to Blackburn if you go in.
Yeah, all right, mate. I'll stick my knacker on my glasses, mate.
So, as well, this road has been cordoned off as well. People, Jason loves it, Dave. Dave, we love Dave on here. Everyone loves Dave on here. As well. Mark, what's your opinion on Scarpino? Are you in that hype, or are you gonna be like us, just like calm down a little bit and let's wait to Chelsea 1st January against Chelsea?
I think I don't watch those highlight reels on YouTube because it is always going to be showing their positive angle. And so I prefer to reserve judgment. I'm a little bit more, sit back and watch. But I have been impressed by the way he handles himself, the way he talks. You had one of the Palmeiras fans on your stream a while ago. He was saying, he'll probably need a bit of time to settle in. But the one thing I've been impressed with is he's interacted with the people in Nottingham already.
Absolutely.
And he was in the city centre after the Valencia game as well. He's interacting with the fans. He's saying all the right things in interviews. I think someone asked him, I can't remember who exactly it was, but Foresters near the bottom of the league. How are you going to feel if they're struggling? And he said, I'm here to work hard. And he's saying all the right things, and he appears to have a really good, engaging personality as well.
Yeah.
So I've got big hopes for him that he will fit in, and I think he's already having a positive influence on Loddy as well. He's making him feel more at home. So I think that'll bring Loddy on a bit as well. He'll feel he's got a friend that he can talk to.
Spot on.
And he did have a nice shot on goal as well, which I don't think anyone's mentioned yet. Besides the free kick and the ball round the corner, he had a nice left foot shot which keeper did well to get down to his right and push that one away. So I did like what I saw, but I'm not going to get carried away until we are, like Des says, 10, 15, 20 games in. He's had a bit of time on the pitch and had a bit more chance to show what he's about against the big boys.
There's a comment for you. Mark has to finish jumper. Looks like what's in front of Dave. Oh, Dave. Let's go talk about the midfield. And I remember Des spoke about the midfield that are struggling. Now, as you know, Kanote is out for 2 to 3 months. The game was it? He played good against Spurs and the Cup and Crystal Palace. And he's going to be a massive miss. Let me ask you, Des. Like I said, he's going to be a big miss. Do you think Forest need to? I know we're not going to bring another 10 players in January. I hope we don't. Do you think we need to bring a midfield in, Des? Just because all if you look at it, all our midfield are not tall. If you look at it like that, but what's your opinion on the midfield, Des? And people in the comments as well. What do you feel? Do you think Forest need to bring someone in the midfield, get involved?
First of all, yes, Kouyaté will be a massive loss. It was the one I kind of expected to come in and play the Cafu role. The finisher, the guy who's going to see out games and perhaps help us sort of hold on to leads and get a point here and there. He was that type of player I was expecting, but he's done really, really well. And he's a big dominating presence in midfield. And he's got that athleticism that you need in the Premier League. I think the problem with Forest, and it's quite simple really, is they've not got a defensive, the typical sort of top Premier League defensive midfield player. We've got some good midfield players. Some players who I think there's still a lot more to come from. I've made comments about Foyer in the past. I've made comments about Mangala and all of them. But I think there's more to come from those players. But I don't think the balance is right in midfield. Yates has been brilliant at times. I felt that Yates at times has played teams on his own. I've made comments to that note because I think that the balance is not quite right. None of them seem to be players that, I wouldn't say don't want to track back because that's the wrong word, but they're not the typical defensive midfielder that we all know and who dominate games, who sort of get the ball every third pass and ping it off to someone else and sort of direct what's happening around them. We haven't got that type of player. I think they all want to play, they're all good going forward, but they're not necessarily the type of players we need when we're under the cosh. And I think that's at times where we're losing the battle in there. O'Brien, again, he's great at sort of getting the ball back, but he gives it away a little bit too easy. That little bit of time he got in the Championship, he's not getting. you know, and that might come. Again, I'm not trying to sort of hang anyone out to dry here, even though I've spoke about Foyer in the past, you know, I just think they're not defensive midfielders. Mangala, Foyer, O'Brien, and even Yatesy to some degree, he's probably the most defensive minded in there, but he's still somebody who pops up in the opposition box. I think we need that real solid anchor in the midfield to sort of almost not build the team around, but almost give us that sort of firm base to build from. Because we're starting to click in other positions. We're starting to sort of really gel. You know, we've mentioned the forward players and what Scarpa might do. The defence is looking a lot more solid. You know, I was really impressed with Bolly as well. I thought he's played well since his debut. Probably one of the worst debuts I've ever seen. But since then, he's played really well. So for me, I just think you've got to have that player who never gives the ball away. Never gives the ball away. You know, 98% might be a bit much. 95% passing ratio. You know, gonna do the dirty stuff. Play it off. We just haven't got that sort of that player. Foyer for me is playing a bit too deep. You know, and he's not affecting games how he probably does for Switzerland. You know, he didn't have he had a decentish World Cup, and I think what we've got is three players in O'Brien, Mangala, and Foyer who are all sort of forward thinking, you know, and not necessarily there to track back. But if we can get someone in that position to work alongside Yatesy, and I would have said Chiarte, but obviously one of those other guys is perhaps going to fit in. Perhaps Mangala, you know, comes in for Chiarte and starts sort of coming on, you know, playing regularly. He seems to have hamstrings and injuries every couple of weeks, or he's not fit, or something's happening. So if he can get in, he might be like a new signing. He might be the new signing we need. But again, for me, it all sort of, we need that linchpin. And if we perhaps talk about other positions, but I think we need that in number 9, and I'd be quite happy.
What do you think, Mark? Like I said, with Canute, like, people in the comments get involved. And I'll ask David in a minute about this. Now Canute is off. I think it was Yates, Ruben Fowler, and Canute. Now he's not playing. Who would you put in that midfield with them two, Mark? Like, you've got O'Brien, we've got Mangala. I don't think Cafu, he could be registered. I don't think he ever will. Got Cole back as well. Can't forget him. Mark, who would you put in that midfield 3? And people in the comments,
it is difficult because I think for quite a while, a lot of us were crying out that we wanted to see Freuler, Mangala, and O'Brien play together, because for a while they haven't been on the pitch at the same time. And then Yatesy's run into a bit of form, so he'd come back into the picture. Chiarte had some really good games, but he's not a 90-minute player. But he is still going to be a big loss. So it is difficult to really decide how you're going to play it. And for me, it really depends what you put in midfield. Starts with, are we going to play number 9? Because if we play number 9, that then changes who we play out of Johnson, Gibbs-White, Lingard, and then that rolls back to how many we're going to put in midfield and how we're going to play the midfield. Because like Des said, none of them are really defensive. They all got their abilities going forward, and so it's, you know, you just never know who's going to be fit at the moment. O'Brien had a bit of illness. Mangala was injured for a bit. So it's going to be, I think, for Blackburn and Man U, we're probably going to want to have a go at Blackburn. So maybe you do play Freuler, Mangala and O'Brien. Have a go at them going forward. Man U might want to change it a bit and just play a bit more defensively if you can. But yeah, I mean, it all depends on injuries at the moment. I mean, there's other players that we're still waiting to hear about as well. Aurier, Gibbs White had a knock, didn't he? No one said anything. I know Cooper said.
No, Gibbs White. I think Gibbs White got a slight knock. So I think I don't think Cooper wanted to.
He won't want to chance him.
He didn't want to chance him. So that's what I think. What Cooper said, if most.
Yeah.
Dave, like, what do you agree with Mark or Des about? Like I said, this midfield is so important for Forest. I think when Ryan Yates played. Second, Dave.
I think it's vital. I totally agree with what both lads say. I feel at the moment we've got some really good pieces, but they don't necessarily fit together. I just don't think we've quite yet found an ideal chemistry in midfield. And, you know, the injuries don't help. It's been a bit sort of stop-start. People have been in form. Other people have not been in quite such good form. I think Yatesy is nailed on. Yates is my first name in the middle because Yatesy, certainly from Brighton onwards, as I think Ryan's become a proper Premier League player. I really do. And you know, what Ryan may lack in finesse and glamour and all the flash FIFA kind of stuff that people are like so interested in, Ryan makes up for in plenty of ticker. You know what I mean? So yeah, Ryan is my number one midfielder at the moment, definitely. I think I would like to see Remo Freuler play for us like he did for Switzerland, where he's creating goals and scoring goals and looking to be more of an influence further forward up the field. And as Des has said, and as Mark's alluded to, if Cheku is going to be out for a while, and you know, Cheku, I wasn't really expecting very much. Like Mark says, I'm not sure he's a 90-minute player, but when he's had a good game, he's been outstanding. I thought against Liverpool, he was quite brilliant. He certainly let Liverpool know early on that he was about the place and here to beat them. And I thought he did a terrific job in unsettling Liverpool and forcing Liverpool to have to go through James Milner most of the time. You know, that was Liverpool's outlet, and a lot of that was to do with Cheku basically sticking his flag in the middle of the midfield and saying, "Right, Liverpool, come and take it off me." I was so impressed with him. We're going to miss his aerial presence as well, but I think if we're going to sort of have, I totally take Des's point about Lewis O'Brien. I thought against Valencia, he was guilty several times of giving the ball away in good positions. In fact, their goal came from him giving the ball away. A beautifully worked goal by Valencia. Let's give credit to them. But it came from Lewis O'Brien in a pretty decent position, giving the ball away. So I think Lewis needs to keep the ball better. But Lewis is
jump in, Dave. I just want to back up your points. You know, that Liverpool game, we dominate the midfield. You know, the Palace game, we dominate the midfield. And I've come to learn in the Premier League, if you dominate the midfield, you win. I keep saying it on my summaries. If you dominate midfield, you win. And it's important to get that balance right. And do you know, these players are all good. They're all good assets to have.
They are.
Possession in the Premier League is 9/10 of the law.
No, it's 11/10, says.
You give the ball away and you lose. Just like, I know it was a friendly against Valencia, but it's happened in other games. Boy, did it against Brentford, you know, and conceded a penalty. But somebody gives the ball away and it's so dangerous. So for all the good attributes they've got, you've got to get this passing right. You know, you've got to keep possession, and that's why it's important to have the right balance.
Which brings me to the player who I do think is our best player at keeping possession in midfield, and he's shown it on the occasions that he's played. Oral Mangala, I think, is the best of our midfield at keeping the ball. I thought he was superb at Everton, where he was so unfortunate to get injured. You know, if you think that in like consecutive weeks we lost Niakate against West Ham after he'd been probably the man of the match, and then the next week at Goodison we lost Oral when he'd probably been the man of the match. I thought he was really good against Tottenham as well in that League Cup game. Excellent. You know, I noticed when he played on Friday night, it seemed to me that Oral and also at Loughborough against Stoke, it seemed to me that Oral was the one coming deeper to want to take the ball off either Joe or Cookie or Scott or Willie or whoever, you know what I mean? So my midfield at the moment would be Oral, Remo and Ryan. And but like Mark says, that Mark makes a great point. For me, and I've said it before, to the point of boring people, which is basically my modus operandi, boring people. We need
a what?
My purpose in life is to bore people. That's what I mean. You need a dictionary for Christmas, you do. Right, listen. So I think we need
I think everyone in the chat. I think everyone in the chat needs a dictionary. What the hell are you just said?
So we need a centre forward. We need a centre forward big style. I think Taiwo's a good lad and he's promising and he's coming on. He's raw. He's got some rough edges. It's going to take a while for Taiwo to be that player that we kind of want him to be. I think we need a January window. We have to go and buy somebody. My ideal of a centre forward for us would be a young Glenn Murray, somebody who brings other people into play, holds the ball up, and scores goals. Somebody like, if we got Glenn Murray when he was at, say, like when he was at Brighton or Palace, somebody like that would be
Danny
ideal.
Ings.
I'm sure.
Danny Ings.
Danny Ings would be a good one, yeah. Somebody who knows the game, somebody who kind of can read the game from the front like a guy could read the game from the back. And until then, I think Forest are still, it's false nines and all this kind of stuff. It just isn't quite clicking. Although I do agree with Des that I think our defensive work has become really, really good. We've certainly from the Leicester game, which was probably the lowest point of the season, and you kind of thought, where do we go from here? To actually then go on a run where, okay, we got thumped at Arsenal, but they're league leaders, best team in the country at the moment. The games around that, we've become hard to beat. We just now have to kind of go on. The whole squad's having to go to the next level all the time, and we're going to have to do it with two incredibly difficult Premier League games when we start.
100%. I'm looking for the comments as well. This is from Forest again. Kunte has been brilliant for 60 minutes. Played for us is a real bonus. Shout out to Axel, from Argentina. I like Kermit to get a new chance to prove he's a Premier League player. Question, honestly, who did you cheer in the final? France or Argentina? Cheers for Argentina. Me personally, I said France, Axel. Dave, what was yours, Dave? France or Argentina?
I was cheering for both. I wanted the game to go on for about 8 days. It was one of the best games of football I've ever seen. I didn't want it to end, so I was cheering for both.
Des, who did you want to win? France or Argentina?
I wasn't bothered, honestly. I just loved the game. I sat down and watched it in a bar with Benidorm with my beer. What more can I ask for on a Sunday?
Mark, who did you want to win? France or Argentina?
I didn't want either of them to win. I was rooting for Morocco after England went out. I didn't even watch the final. I went to the pictures to watch the new Avatar movie.
What?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Because I didn't want either of them to win, so I didn't watch it.
Great. I bet 23 times it seems so bad when you factor the injuries, League Cup, FA Cup, and the toughest league in the world. 100%.
Albertus makes a great point. We're not talking about that anymore, are we? We've gone on from that now. It was a thing that we got mocked for at the start of the season. That's gone now, and he makes a really good point about that. I like that.
100%. This is from Paul. Dave, the countdown. Dave, what top you got on?
Well, I put it on for Chris Dennehy, right? Because on social media, Chris asked me if I was a New York Islanders ice hockey fan, and I am sort of. So I put that on for him.
When you said you were going to get it, Dave, I was going to ask you if it was a new jersey.
No,
Chris.
I'll tell you what, Mark, because I've got the headphones in. I went to the Carsey, right? And while I'm in the Carsey, I could hear as clear as a bell. It was almost like I was being haunted. I could hear Des Oldham's voice in my toilet, and it was so eerie. Honestly, I didn't know what to do in there. I dealt with my business and came out, but all the time I could hear Des Oldham going on about Gustavo Scarpa. It was like the most amazing thing. So I got stereo Des Oldham in my toilet, right?
Oh, unbelievable.
He looks really proud of that.
To send you to sleep.
Okay. Right, I'm going to one. This is from Swin. Do you guys think we should try and get some of the loan players if we lost the summer? Spence gone out on loan again. France just this, but I think we should move on. Me personally, Swin, no, we move on. 100%. Spence, no games for Spurs. Do we need him right back?
Yeah. I would say, and I've said it before, I would take Keenan Davis. I would still take Keenan Davis. I get shouted at all the time saying, move on, move on, move on. But I think I was thinking about Blackburn when we went there in February.
Yeah, brilliant.
I think we had a better team playing Blackburn in February than we've got now. I think there's reasons it's changed, but I think, and that performance was one of the best of the season for me. But Davis in that game, but not just because of that. That was me sidetracking a little bit. I would have Davis because I think he would bring so much out of those other players.
Yeah.
Not necessarily he won't come in and score 10 goals. He'll probably get 5, but he brings so much more out of the players in and around him. And I think somebody who could hold the ball up like that, and not put too much expectation on to score. The thing is with Tyro, he scored a couple, to be fair. He scored a couple of winning goals, which is always important, but he doesn't hold the ball up, does he? So if he's not scoring goals and the ball's not sticking, what are you getting? And that's why I think Davis would be a real addition.
Des, that's brilliant. I remember watching Keenan's first game. I think it was against Arsenal in the FA Cup.
Yeah, it was.
And he roughed Holding, and I think Ben White played that day, and he made it really uncomfortable then. And I thought, my God, this guy's a unit. And for all, Keenan scored some cracking goals. Reading, Birmingham, where he was like bullocking runs. The run at Blackburn, where he actually fell over, got back up and flicked it through to Jimmy, who then scored. But my abiding memory of Keenan is him coming on against Sheffield United in the second leg where we were really on the ropes. And I thought in extra time he helped us to gain the initiative back. And I thought, and I agree with Des, I would take Keenan back because there've been certain games this year. The one that occurs to me the most is Wolves, where Emmanuel was playing up front, having played okay against Sevilla, so he kind of won his place. But the whole afternoon we were in that side bit at Molineux watching the ball come back all the time. He never stuck up front, and it drove me bonkers. It must have driven the lads at the back bonkers as well. So, again, this is why we need somebody to kind of hold the ball up for us. And I'd have no worries about having Keenan back, honestly.
People in the comments, do you agree? Do you want Keenan Davis back? Yes or no? Me personally, has he done anything for Watford? That's the only thing. I know he's scored a few goals for them, but I don't know. I wouldn't. That's my opinion, people. I wouldn't bring him back, but I've seen a few more questions.
What's important with Davis, though, is he's done it for Steve Cooper.
Yeah.
We know how good Steve Cooper is, and we don't need to wax lyrical all night about Cooper. But he gets something out of players like that. He works with them.
Yeah.
Is he being worked with by whoever's Watford's manager this week? It's that consistency of being there and knowing exactly what your job is to do, isn't it? And like I said, that was my point about goals. He wouldn't necessarily come back to Forest. And we wouldn't necessarily expect 10, 12 goals out of him in the second half of the season. We'd expect that player we saw at Sheffield against Sheffield United, who changed the game, who took the initiative, gave us the initiative back and made sure we didn't crumble like we had in previous games. The guy at Blackburn who ran around Preston, Chorley and Bolton before he laid it off to Jimmy Garner, that's what we need. Someone where it's just going to stick and hold. Yeah. And we haven't got that.
100%. 100%.
Davis is the one I'd take back as well out of the loanies, but mainly because of what we need rather than, not wanting the other players back. It's just what we need. He'd be good for what we need. But, I was a fan of Davis from the very moment he stepped on the pitch. When he made his debut up, after 5 minutes, I turned around to the guy sat next to me in the tread and said, "This boy's got something." Yeah. And but for me, it was always about the injuries. It's too injury prone.
I'm just going through comments as well because I know we've gone over the hour mark. So people say it's been a great show. And if you have enjoyed it, people, please do hit the like button. If you can, do me a massive like, please. Questions. This is a quick one. If you make it quick. Question for the panel: Davis or Sturridge? That's a big one. People in the comments, what do you think? Good question for us, Stan, as well. Des, make it short and sweet. Dave or Sturridge?
Davis was always been the superstar he was last season. Because it worked. It worked for us. They bounced off each other. But by not playing together, it worked really well as one player. Two players playing one role.
Dave?
Can I have both of them? Because I really like both of them. I think Sam actually, look, Sam is the most natural finisher that we've got in the club.
Yes.
And you know what? Sam has come on in recent games. You know, he headed back for Jesse to score against Tottenham. I think Sam is kind of still high, you know, definitely in Steve's thinking. I've got a lot of time for Sam Surridge. He's a good lad. He loves being at the club. And I think he's a very, very handy guy to have about. Holding up, I'd like to kind of, you know, those pods they had in the Fly where they were like merging stuff. You could have like a hybrid of Surridge and Davis, and you've got yourself probably exactly what we need at the moment.
Mark, who would you pick?
I think I agree with Des that they'd make two halves of one good player. I mean, like they did last season. One thing I would like to see is Surridge get a run of games, and I think he'd do well getting on the end of Scarpinia's crosses.
This is one. I'm Malcolm. I don't know why he hates this guy. Malcolm says, Brereton Diaz. Anyone? Dave? Yes or no?
I like
people in the comments as well. Brereton Diaz. Yes or no? Dave?
That's a really tough one. There's a lot of Premier League clubs after him, so a lot of people kind of seem to think that he can do it at this level. I personally wanted him to go to West Ham so that we get the pay, get the sort of the sell-on money or whatever. With them pay Jesse's wages. But I watched it. I watched him against Norwich the other night, and he's a good lad, Ben Brereton Diaz. He's actually a better player than I ever thought he would be. I thought he would go to Blackburn and disappear a bit, and he's done nothing of the sort. And he's from a village, literally Blythe Bridge, a mile up the road from where I live. So, you know, I've got a bit of an affinity with him. But I don't know if do I put him as good as Keenan Davis or Sam? I think Sam's better than Brereton Diaz. So no.
Okay.
No.
No, I don't. He's unproven in the Premier League, isn't he? We moved him on at a point, you know, and he's done really well. You know, his career got reinvigorated by this whole Chile thing, which is great, and he's doing really well. But I don't think he's the type of player who's going to drag us out of a rut.
Yeah,
you know,
you watch him score on Wednesday night against us. Now you watch after what we've said.
Absolutely. No, I really liked him as a Forest player. You know, when he was at Forest, and I spoke to one or two coaches at the time, and they hinted that he might not make it. You know, but I seen him. I remember a game against Sheffield Wednesday where he just bullied some defenders. He was only 17, and I thought this guy's got a big future. But he tends to play a different role as well, doesn't he? These days, you know, perhaps coming in from one side and things like that. I don't think he'd get the goals that we need, and I don't think he holds it up as good as someone like Davis. And again, we really need that. Whether it's Davis or anyone else, you know, we need that target man.
What about you, Mark?
No, not for me. I think you'll see in the January transfer window we'll make a couple of 3 signings, and it'll probably be from other Premier League clubs.
Okay. There's gone over the other Mark people. As you know, cup game is on Wednesday. Premier League back is next week. As you know, I think at the start of the season I did say, where do you think Forest will finish at the end of the season? I'm going to see if Dave and Mark have changed their mind. People in the comments, have you changed your mind? Do you think Forest will stay up? Do you think we'll get relegated? Who should I start with? People in the comments get involved. I'm going to start with. Let me start with you, Mark, because I know these two got like the longest essay ever. So, Mark,
right?
Are Forest staying up? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
I think Cooper's finding his feet now. It's took him a while. He's a new Premiership manager. Team starts to gel. We'll get a few good players in January, hopefully. And I'm still going to stick with my original prediction before the season of 13th.
Okay. 13th. Bloody hell. Okay. I'm a bit shocked with that.
I think there's a lot of clubs down there that are going to struggle. So, I don't think it's a case of we're going to have to get loads of points just to survive. I think there's going to be a lot of teams down there struggle. And so I think 13th, you're probably not going to have to get as many points to get 13th as people think.
Okay. People in the comments, do you agree or disagree with Mark? I don't know. I wish. People in the comments, who should go next, Dave or Des? People in the I'll say my bit.
How long have they got after this evening?
I'll be blunt. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And like that Leicester game still comes to my mind. Still, I think it's going to be difficult. I think the big miss is going to be Canute in that midfield. It's a massive miss. Yes, I think we'll stay up. I'm saying it. We'll stay up. Just. Forest fans, we need to remember we're going to have more downs again. This is the best league in the world. Like Dave said about Arsenal, that game, one of the best teams in England. But I think that game against Crystal Palace when we won 1-0, I think we can do it. So I think, yes, we'll stay up, and I think we'll finish 16th. I think we'll finish 16th, people. So, yeah.
What a choice.
Wait, Des. All right, Des. Go on, Des.
I still maintain it's 3 from 4. I still think I think we've got a massive chance. We've given ourselves a chance, but we've got to come back. We've got to somehow maintain that momentum that was building. That's not going to be easy with the 2 games we've got. And it's all right saying these 2 teams, the World Cup, and these 2 teams are this and that. They still are top 6 Premier League teams. They might have had a bad run. So if we take anything from them, we can almost take it as that we have carried on the momentum. We are sort of still building. So it's going to be important these first couple of league games, and then of course you've got Southampton, which is definitely a 6-pointer. So yeah, I think we've got a real chance, and I do believe we will get 17th. I believe we'll stay up, but I still think it's going to be really, really tight down there for most of the season. The 2 teams we're in with are Bournemouth. Perhaps if Everton lose Calvert-Lewin, I'd say 3 from 5 because they'll be really, really struggling. There's talk of him going to Newcastle and one or 2 others next week. But I think we've got a massive chance, and I think that what's happened, all of a sudden, the manager's got used to the formation. He's had to change. He's had to change from what he prefers. I'd love us at some point to have the personnel to go back to the 3 at the back and play the Cooper way that was so successful. But the Premier League's tough at times, so I think he's learned. The players are learning all the time. Joe's showing a bit of form again. He really struggled. Willy Bowley, Cookie's played well in these friendlies and things like that. So it's just an opportunity to take it on, isn't it? Hopefully we can do it. But it is, whilst I think we can do it, because I know how a Cooper season sort of ends, a lot different to the way it starts. Whilst I think we can do it, I think it's going to be right down to the wire.
Max is on here. Go away, Max. It's bedtime for you. Why are you on? Why are you on?
It's a good. I tell you what, though, there's a couple of deadly strikers there. Actually, Bergton Diaz feeding me.
Last but not least, Dave, are Forest staying up? I know. Wait, Dave, be quiet because I remember the Leicester game, and Dave looked at me. I think it was like 10 minutes ago, and he said we're going down.
I did. I
Yes.
did. And like I'm happy to be admitting to being wrong. I've just been wrong about this World Cup. I thought it'd be crap. I actually really enjoyed it against all my expectations. So I'm the one thing people watching these streams should know, I'm 100% wrong. Let's start with that as a basic fact. I said that we'd finish 14th. I've changed my view. I think we'll finish 17th. I think that I think the premonition I've got now is that we have to go to Selhurst Park on the last day of the season, and we beat Palace at a packed Selhurst Park to stay up, and other results go our way elsewhere. That said, I do think we will find 3 worse teams than us. Who they are, I don't know. Candidates for that are Wolves, obviously, unless they find a striker. Southampton, I think, I'm not sure Nathan Jones is the answer. You know, kind of rodent, keep a team in the Premier League. I'm not sure. Everton, I'd like us. Why don't we go and sign Calvert-Lewin from Everton?
I was thinking the same, Dave.
He'd be perfect for us. He'd be perfect for us because he's a good lad. He's bright, and I think he's a really good centre forward. He's been unlucky with injuries. I rate that Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's Everton's only hope. If they lose him, like Des says, Everton are in it because Lampard isn't up to it. I think if Ivan Toney gets banned for a while for his 7 million betting misdemeanors, they might get dragged in. Leeds, I'm more confident about Leeds. Leeds have got a psychological toughness where they can like really go for it. They've still got that hangover from the Bielsa era, and I think Leeds will be all right. So I think, I think we'll stay. I mean, with some of these teams, you know, like Des said, it could be 3 from 4 or 3 from 5. I was listening to somebody talking a while about, Darren Fletcher, who I always talks a lot of sense. And he was saying Forest might only need to get to like maybe 37, 38, 39 to stay up this year. You know, but I'm saying we finish 17th. It might be skin of the teeth. And as you said, Ben, it's going to be incredibly difficult. I mean, I think our first game back in the Premier League. So I would love it. I want us to go to Blackburn and give it full focus because I want a quarter final, right? And I think I'd like to think Steve will have the same approach to this as he had to the FA Cup last year, which did us wonders. We win at Blackburn and play well against Blackburn at Blackburn. It sets us up nicely. I cannot see us winning at Old Trafford for 2 reasons. They got rid of Ronaldo, right? I think they'll be better off without him. And the Glazers have put the club up for sale. So when we go to Old Trafford, we're going to an Old Trafford that's going to be buzzing. They're going to be in a much happier state than if we'd have gone. If we'd have gone to them in October or September, as I thought, yeah, we might get something. I think we'll get beat at Old Trafford, but I think we'll beat Chelsea at the City Ground. That's my view. But yeah, we stay up. I said 14th. Being me, I hope I'm wrong. I think we'll be 17th. And I tell you what, if we have 17th, I almost feel it might be a greater achievement than what we achieved last year. Desi's point as well about a Cooper season gathers momentum is the same. I mean, this time last year at Christmas or whatever it was, I think we beat Hull, but we were still nowhere near going to the playoffs. And none of us could have imagined it. So at the moment, it might be difficult to imagine staying up. But you know what? I think we haven't seen the best of Forest yet. I think Forest have, you know, the propensity to get better. I think some of the other teams have a possibility of getting worse. It's going to be fascinating. But you know what? If we go down, I'm still buying my season ticket. And if we go down again, and even if we're playing in the Midland Alliance, I'm still a Forest fan. So I have no worries about the future, whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, but we're staying up. I like our aura, our spirit, and our support has been fantastic. And that we're one of the few clubs that have a 12th man. You know, definitely.
Before we do go, we'll go through the comments. Shout out to my boy Curtis. Get yourself a striker in January.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely, Curtis. Yeah,
definitely Curtis. Shout out to Curtis. Make sure everyone subscribe to my guy. I'm trying to stay away from him because I know we lost 5-0, and he's always there. So shout out to Curtis for watching my channel as well. And as well, thank you for everyone that has been taking part to watch. It's for talk about the Mighty Forest, and then we're back. We're back soon as well. Before we go into the comments as well. This is Zane. I love the Zane comment. Door and Des up front with Mark and Dave at the park. Win the cup and we'll be safe. Now I'll put Des as a substitution. Last 5 minutes for Des.
Yeah. That's a 4 to build your team. Seriously, that's a 4 to build your team around. Mark can take first knock and I'll sweep behind him. Basically, Des can play as a target man, Dore, and you can sort of feed off the scraps that Des creates. I tell you what, if Des is up front, the ball won't be coming back, mate. He'll hold it up. No worries.
I'm more of a Kenny Burns. I'm more of a Kenny Burns defender.
Yeah, I'm not Lloydie though, Mark. I tell you what, why would it be great to have Kevin Campbell in his prime play for us again?
Oh, he's on here now.
Be perfect.
He's here now. Kevin says,
actually, Merry Christmas, Kev. Thanks for all the messages of kindness, mate. Yeah, both Thursdays, top bloke.
Top bloke, Kev. So Kevin says 17. Give me that. Yeah, now for Forest, 100%, Kev.
We need a player. We need a player like Kev who can run onto his own flick-ons.
No, we don't, because because as you know, Kevin. Listen to me. If we had VAR in Kevin Campbell days, it would have been 0 goals for Kev. So, Kev, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kev. I'm sorry.
He was a good player, mate. Let me tell you.
No, it was offside, most of them. There's a lot of people. But I'd like to thank you for everyone that's took a part of the channel. I'm doing tomorrow. I'm doing a Blackburn preview show with what's his name now? It'll be 9 o'clock anyway. People say I am doing a preview show with Blackburn Forum. That starts at 9. Me, Dave, and Des will be in Blackburn on a Wednesday. If anyone sees Des, don't talk to him. If anyone sees Dave, go and speak to Dave. If anyone sees me, just ignore me.
Can I just ask, Mark, are you going to the pictures tomorrow night or Wednesday night?
No, I'm not going to Blackburn because I'm going to see Bad Manners at Rock City.
Hey, way to go, mate! Fantastic.
Oh,
Cool as.
Well,
love to dub treadle, mate.
So Mark is going to watch some rock freak people. I don't know who they are, but in the comments, do you? But actually, people, if you are
Philistines, Mark, eh?
If you enjoyed it, please do hit the like button. Let's make sure everyone subscribe to Mr. Do Daily. The link is in the description. Please help him get to 1,000 if you can, please. And as well, people, get me to 11k if you can. Help me out because I think I'm like 100 away from 11k. So if you can, if you are new to the channel, please do hit my subscribe button. Make sure everyone goes to Do Daily and subscribe to his channel as well. What else is there? Like I said, I can't wait. I'm excited. I've enjoyed it. I know we've got over time, but it's the first one, really good one as well. People, I'll be back with a review show on Thursday as well. So all the content's coming on as well. And as well, watch out for tonight. Me and Des went to the Valencia tour as well, and do watch it. There is some funny bits on there with Des. Des likes to run his mouth a little bit. So people, if you do, watch out for it'll be midnight because I want to get it out as soon as. But as well, people.
Post watershed.
Oh, it is a funny one. Des has announced something, but if you do want to hear what Des says, go and watch it because he has announced something. You won't see his face on here ever again. Right, people. Thank you very much for everyone.
Nice to know you all.
So, people, thank you for everyone. If you can, before you do leave, we take you 2 seconds. Please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock for the Blackburn preview. Peace and love, people. Up the Forest.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
You
Christmas.
Reds.